Alright, so let's take a look at where we left off last time. You can see we have our enemy patrolling. We come down here. If I get within distance, he approaches me, and I'm going to get out of distance. He's finding his way back to that waypoint here. And some of the core logic needs to be, like kind of fixed up, like the speed and some collision stuff. But overall, and let's go ahead and play with that a little bit just to kind of see it. But we could just have the regular speed set to 4. Well, we'll do 3. And the chase speed could stay at 4, but we got our thing going on here. Come down here. Let's see, where's he at? I get within range, he chases me, goes back. And that little bit of extra speed I think helped kind of help him with the detection. All right, I'm gonna try to wrap this up. I know these videos are a little long in the crash course, but so let's go in here and we're going to make a folder in scripts called player. Now, what I want to do here, and let's drag player movement, put it in here, is I am going to kind of break up a little bit because we do want to focus on some object-oriented programming concepts. So I am going to create a couple scripts here. Now, we don't have a win-lose scenario in this game. So for instance, like how do we lose? Well, I'm going to have it where we have a health bar, and when the enemy touches my player, the health goes down, and then we get a restart button or something, and that allows us to restart the game. I'm also going to do it where there's like collectible objects, and if you collect, I'll just put one object here, which is like maybe the whole goal of this level is to just learn how to move. So we'll get past here, we grab the treasure chest, and it says it takes you to level 2. So very simple, basic mechanic. Because in the advanced tutorial, we are going to build inventory systems and shops. I'm going to stretch, this is going to have a second part to this class. So for the first part, we'll do this, and then you're going to learn some advanced programming concepts. All right, so let's enough jibber jabbing. Let's start scripting. All right, inside of our player folder here, let's create another C# script. We're going to call this player health, and on our player, which is our knight here, go ahead and select that, and below player movement, I want to try to keep all my scripts in the same location. Add player health, and let's go ahead and open that up. All right, so I went ahead and typed this out. It's not a long script, see how pretty short. And I have some stuff commented out, and I'll get into that in a second. So we have 2 variables here, and I'm just going to go to my knight here so you can see it in action. And at the top here, and the knight has a player health, which is set to 100, and the current health, which is set to 0. But we're going to update it in our start method here, where we set the current health to whatever the max health is right off the bat. So that could set it to 100. And as your game progresses, if you want to continue down this model, you can keep increasing max health. Now, this health bar here, we haven't created the script or the health bar, which we will in a second. But this health bar here is just going to be a reference to a slider object. So actually, I'm going to do that maybe in another section right after I explain the script where we create the UI. So in start, we know that this is called right off the bat. It's attached to our script. I press play, this is called, and let's go ahead and see that. When I press play, you can see it automatically updated current health to 100. Now, the reason I didn't just set current health to 100 here is because, as I said, if you decide to do progression, like he gets hearts or he gets some sort of power up and then max health increases to 200, I always want this to have that. Now, we haven't created a restart button. Now, the restart button is important because, and we're setting it to false, is because once our enemy touches our player and that health bar equals 0, we're going to activate the restart button. You click it and it restarts this specific level. Now we have a method here. It's not being called, but it will be from other scripts, and it's just called take damage. And all this does is it takes your current health and it subtracts it from damage. Now, if you recall, writing it the way above is the same way as writing this. Current is just saying this. This line of code on 22 is shorthand and exactly the same as writing this. And it's saying current health, which is equal to 100, equals 100 minus whatever the damage is. So say this enemy here is a big brawler and does 25 damage. Well, every time that character bumps into our character, it's going to subtract 25 from 100, and it's going to make it equal 75. I'm going to delete this line because it's good programming practice to do damage, or to do it this way in shorthand. Now, this other line here that's commented out is, I haven't written this script yet, but I'm going to create a method inside that script called set health, which is making it, this just updates our health bar so that it sets it to whatever the current health is. So as we're taking damage, you'll see the health bar or slider go down. And if our health bar is less than or equal to 0, which means we've gotten rid of all of our health, we're going to call this restart level. And all this does is that just shows that button. And then I can click it and it restarts the level. So pretty easy player health script. But let's go ahead and just make another script. I'm just going to grab this. And inside of this, I'm actually going to create a folder in scripts here. And I'm going to call it UI. And this is for any script that deals with user interfaces. And I'm going to create that script, and I'm going to call this health bar. So let's go ahead and I'm going to drag it in this scene. I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to type out this code. Now let me close the enemy and main menu here, just so we have these two. And actually, I'm going to hold Control, or is it Shift Enter? Let's see here. Yeah, it's Shift Enter. I'm going to do a side, but I'll switch between them. I'm losing a lot of screen real estate here. All right, so I went ahead and typed this out. Let's go back into player health here, and let's comment out these different lines of code here for now. And you might get errors if you haven't typed the other one out yet, which I'm pretty sure you haven't. But this is a pretty simple script here. It's 2 methods and a variable. So this is public slider, and I'm going to actually, and what this does is we get a reference to the slider object. And what happens is, if you recall here, we have this health bar dot set max health equals max health. This is just setting it to 100 or whatever our current health is. 100 gets passed here, and it goes into our slider max value, and then we have and then we have a slider dot value which equals health. Let me go ahead and let's create this really quick. So inside of here, let's let this update. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to UI, and I'm just going to create a slider. Now, inside of our game view, I'm going to hit Shift and Space. It doesn't look like we could see it, but let's see, where is that slider? Here's our slider. Let's hit F to hit our, I'm going to dock this here. Like I said, I'm kind of running out of space here. You know what, let me just maximize this so we could really focus on this. So I'm going to hit F on my canvas here, and I want to make sure that in my game view, this is set to 1920 by 1080. And our slider is way down here. So that's probably part of the problem. And let me shrink this way down here. Maybe I can do it, move this over, so you can see this updating in the game view. So you can see my slider is way down here. So it's like barely able to see. Now for my canvas, I want this to, under canvas scaler, scale with screen size. And what that's going to do is, as my screen size scales here, notice it doesn't move it, it'll scale with it. So in here, I'm going to hit W, and I'm going to move this up to maybe the corner here. And for my value here, and this is what we're referencing essentially in the script here. Let's expand this out a little bit. When we say slider.value equals health, this value is this, we're here where it says value. So I'm going to just put 0.5 here so you can see that. And let's expand this out. Now for the background color, I think we could make that red. Yeah, and then as we adjust our slider here, you can see it moving. I'm also going to just hit T here. Just give it a little bit of width here, like this. Something like that. And I don't know if we need that handle. If we hide that. If I go to my fill area, kind of just pull that up like that. And then, yeah, not bad. I mean, that works for me. Again, we're just prototyping at this point. We're just trying to get something good. So we have this health bar script. So let's kind of run through that. All right. So from our player health, let's go ahead and just set this to 0.5 just so you can see it. So here's our max health value. Here's our min. What we want to do is we're going to go to health bar, set max health to max health here. Oh, actually, sorry. We want to go back to our health bar here. So our health bar script. So let's attach, we really could just attach this to the health bar, and we could just get the component. We could also attach it to our player, but I'm thinking now that, we'll take our canvas here and we'll grab our health bar script and we'll drop it here. And then we'll just, underneath the canvas here, we'll grab the slider and we'll put it here. And that'll give us access to all of the slider's features. And I'm also going to take my slider, I'm going to set it to 0.5. And I want to press play and I want to show you what happens. Now, let's see. Here's our player health. Set health to current equals 100 if current health doesn't restart level. And actually, what I'm seeing is we never actually call set health here. So I'm going to go back to player health here, and in start, I'm going to do health bar. I'm going to duplicate this, and I want to call dot set health at the very beginning, and I want to introduce the max health. So if I hit Control S to save this and I press play, that should adjust the value of our health bar. Set max health, set max. Oh, I didn't. Here, let me uncheck play. We need set health, not set max health. So set health here. There we go. And then let me save that and let me press play. That should set our health right off the beginning to 100. And it did not. So here's player health. Is that on our knight? Do we have our player health script? Oh, we never put the health bar in here. Oh, you know what? That's why. Okay. Let me undo play here. Let me grab the slider, which is our health bar. And we need the health bar script on our health bar. That's why we're, let's put the health bar script here. Let's remove it from our canvas. And then on our slider itself, we could pretty much just drag that same in there. We can do a get component, but right now we're just gonna, like I said, prototyping. So we have our slider, and then we have our knight, and our knight wants access to the slider here. Come on, health bar. There we go. And in our canvas as well, I'm going to right click, go to UI, and I'm just going to make a button, Text Mesh Pro, and I'm going to call this restart level. And this one is going to say for the text, restart game or restart. We'll just leave it as restart. And then back on my knight here, I'm going to grab my restart level button and drop it in there. And because we have inside of player health, right off the bat, where we set the restart button to active is true, what happens is in start, we set it to false. So when I press play right now, this button's going to disappear. And you can see my health bar went up to 100 because we set the health here. Now, I don't think we need this line now that I think about it, because inside of our health bar here, we do have a set max health, and this does set two of these values. So sorry about the confusion. So now when I press play, you can see my health bar is equal to 100. And so there's our health bar, and this is our player health. So pretty simple script method to set our max health. It just plays with those values, right? See our max health here, and then if we go to our slider here, and we expand that out, you could see it automatically updates this when we press play. It's now 100 instead of 1 because we're setting the max value here to 100, and the value in there is set to health. And then here, set health, we're just kind of updating that, set the value to whatever our current health is. And let's soldier on. If this doesn't make sense, let me know. All right, so next I'm going to create another folder inside of scripts. Let me uncheck play here. And I'm going to create another folder here, and I'm going to call this enemy. And I'm going to grab this enemy script here, drop it in. And then inside of this, I'm going to make another script. And this is going to be only like 3 or 4 lines of code. So I'm going to right click, create a C# script here, and just call this enemy damage. And what this is going to do is when our player bumps into our enemy, so let's select our enemy here. where's he at? Enemy. And we're going to grab this enemy script. And I'm just going to drop it here. Well, enemy damage script. There we go. And then I'm just going to move that below, above Circle Collider 2D. If you have difficulty, you can right click and then do move up or move down. So move up and then move down. And I'm going to grab enemy damage and drop it inside of here. And this is going to be a very basic script. So I'm going to pause the video and type this out. All right, so we have an enemy damage script here, and we have a variable here that's just, it's an integer, and it's just saying 20 is the amount of damage. So we could even go as high as 50 if we want inside of our inspector, just to kind of speed up the process. And then we have this method here that's created by Unity called onCollisionEnter2D. This is different than onTriggerEnter2D, onTrigger2D, enter2D, because this one, you don't have to go to your circle collider here and turn on a trigger. This is just checking whenever our enemy bumps into anybody, like in our game. So if I select my enemy here, what this method does is it's always running and it's checking as our player bumps into different stuff. So if our enemy bumps into different stuff. So if it bumps into this tree or whatever, it's recording what it's bumping into in this collision variable here. Now, what we're going to say is we're going to create a new variable here of type player health. And what this is doing is it's saying, okay, any game object that we collide into that has a player health script on it, which we only have one character, which is our knight, who has the player health script on him, we're going to say, we're going to store within inside of here, we're going to say, okay, player health, who did we bump into? Well, collision.collider, that's this 2D collider here. Who did we bump into? Well, we're going to get that component player health. So we're going to grab the knight's player health script here. And if the player health script is not equal to null, that means they actually have one on here. We're going to call this take damage, which I'm going to hold control, and we're going to pass in the value 20. Really, this supersedes this, so it's going to pass in the value 50 here. So if you forgot, I'm going to hold control and click on take damage. Remember, that's inside of player health. So it's going to pass 50 into here. It's going to subtract 50 from current health. And then we're going to say health bar, which is this script here, dot set health to current health. Well, I'm going to hold control and click on this. And you could see set health. All this does is it sets the value, which is now 50, into our value here. So let's save this. Let's make sure enemy damage is saved. And again, very simple, small script here. And we're now kind of doing a little bit more object-oriented programming. We're jumping around and not placing everything in one script. But I just wanted to make sure it's easier to read this stuff if it's broken up, and it's easier to understand it. But I wanted to, now that we're wrapping up this tutorial, I just wanted you guys to see a little bit better of the programming context. Okay, so here we are. Let's go here. Let's see if this guy touches me. You can see I went down to 50, and here I am at restart. Now, we didn't code any of the logic yet, where if I click the restart button, it restarts. I also kind of want to do something maybe where maybe we'll do this in player health, where we'll say we can deactivate the player game object or something. If our health equals less than 0, we restart level. Well, maybe we say, okay, we could, initially the best way to do it is we'd play an animation of our knight falling asleep, but we'll do that in the advanced one. But we could, let's just make it easy. We'll do public game object knight, and we'll save that, and we're just going to make this really quick and, again, prototyping, you know. So we'll select our knight here, and we're just going to drag our knight inside of here. And then we'll copy this, and we'll say knight.setActive equals false. I think I did a capital K. Okay, let's press play here. All right, let's go down here. And, oh, you know what? Our camera is attached to our knight, so we can't set active equals false. Because then we're going to set our camera deactive. Let's do... You know what? Let's actually, because you're going to have to do this in the bigger tutorial, let's go ahead and set up a camera. So I'm going to drag my main camera off here, and we're going to, we'll come back to this actually. So let me just, let's leave this logic here. Let's see, where's our main camera in our scene? There it is. So we'll do something like this, and we'll start our night down here just so you can see it works. And we'll do something where we'll actually set up a Cinemachine camera. Okay, so let's press play here, and there our character is deactivated, and then we can hit restart, but we haven't hooked up that restart logic yet. So let's the soldier on. But we're going to set up a really nice camera system in a second after we finish these scripts. Okay, so let's take care of that restart button, which is pretty easy. So I'm going to right click in my scripts folder, create another C# script, and just call it load level button. And on our canvas, I'm going to go ahead and just drop that load level button on here. And let's go ahead and open that script. It's going to be pretty much a single line of code. I'm going to change start to load level. And we want to use scene management here. So I'm going to duplicate this and do using engine.scene management. And then in load level, we do scene manager dot, let's see, load scene. And then inside of here, let's make a variable here. And this variable, really, we're just going to paste in our scene name. So we could do a public string, and we'll call this level name. And I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. And I'm going to save that. And now we should have that exposed variable. And come on, save it. Oh, I forgot my semicolon. Let's go back inside of here. And there's level name. And so all I have to do is go into my scenes folder, make sure I have level 1 selected here, and it's spelled exactly the same. And on my canvas, I just paste that in there. Now for my button, I'm going to expand this out. We have our restart level button. Down here on unclicked, I'm going to expand that, grab my canvas, drop it in there. And instead of no function here, I'm going to go to load level button script. And the method that I want to call is called level name, which is this one right here. So I'm going to look for that in the list. Let's see. And it's not showing up because I did not make the method public. So that's silly on my part. Okay, so let's click on that again. And you can see load level now appears. So let's hit Control S, let's expand this out, press play. And then I click restart, and it restarts level 1. So we can live in this proverbial world of it constantly restarting. All right, we're getting there. We're powering through. We're getting a game together. Okay, we're almost done. We're going to create a couple more scripts, and this is really just how we win the game. So let's go into our art folder, and let's take a look at some stuff that they have for us in visuals. And maybe instead of like collectibles, we'll just have it, well, no, collectibles are kind of cool. Let's have it where we have to collect a frog. So here's a frog here, and these are magical frogs, and you have to collect so many of them. So just bear with me. So I'm going to grab my frog, I'm going to drop it into the scene here, and I'm going to set this to like 11 or something so we could see it. And for the frog, I'm going to make it 10, 10, 10, 10. So here's our frog. And the whole goal here, and this might be kind of rough because, yeah, we could see him. He's okay. Is we need to get to this frog, and maybe we'll make him, let's see. Let's do, no, I guess green is, maybe you have to save the dog. Let's see if here's a kid. Let's see. Make sort order 11 so it's in the front. I guess I can kind of leave it up to you. Do you want to save the kid? We'll put the kid right here. And frog. You got to save, let's see, 3 kids. So here's 1 kid. So you got to collect these kids and save them. So you got to grab all 3 of these kids. And, you know, because I don't see any collectibles in here. That's the problem that we can use. I guess maybe, yeah, these are kind of rough. Let's see our tile palette really quick. Collect these crosses maybe? Let's see, which one is this? I guess I can leave it up to you. For now, I'm going to save the 3 little kids, okay? You could do crosses, and honestly, you can use your own art later. All right, I'm going to hit W to deselect that. Okay. So, we have our 3 kids here, and we're going to select all 3 of them and name them kid. And then we're going to add a circle collider on them. And we're going to make this a trigger so that when we walk into them, we can collect them. And we also need a rigid body, 2D, not regular rigid body. And we will make sure gravity is set to 0. And so in order to control things that happen on the level, I could just write a script and called collectibles and have it do everything. But really good programming convention, we need to create another script, and we're going to call it a level manager. So right click in here and go to scripts and click on create C# script and type out level manager. And I'm going to create an empty game object in my scene. And I'm also going to call that level manager, and I'm going to drop this script on top of here. All right, let's do the two panel thing so we could see this in action. All right, so I scripted out really quick the level manager stuff. Now we have public integer items to collect is 5. We really need 3 because we have 3 little kids here. Now we have a public static. This is called a singleton. It's just by using the word instance, it gives us access to everything that's inside of this script. It's not a very long script, but by giving it the same name here, this variable, we're going to call level manager, or we can, and then do instance and then access stuff. You'll see this in a second when we get into our collectibles. So these are pretty self-explanatory. We have 0 items collected because we started here. So we have variable, and then that we're going to track. And then awake is like start, but the difference between awake and start is that awake begins before the second the script, the character is started. So it actually starts beforehand. And so all we're doing here is we're just assigning instance. If instance is equal to null, which means it's not accessing this script, we want to make sure that this instance variable is accessing everything in this script here. And then our level manager, on average, when it goes from scene to scene, we want it to persist. So what we say is, as our level is loading, like we go from level to level, and you'll see this when we collect the 3 kids and then we go to the next level. This script here, this level manager object here, which is a game object, is going to go with it. If we have a multiple, like we have multiple copies of this script in the scene, we want to destroy the copy. Now this is, again, pretty basic. Collect item, we increment the items collected, right, which is this set to 0. Every time we collect one, we're going to call this. It's going to increment it by 1. And if the items collected is less than or equal to items to collect, so if it's greater than or equal to 3, then we're going to go to the next level. That means we've won. And then here we have scene manager, and make sure at the top here you have scene management. We have scene manager.load scene, and what we're going to do is we're going to get the active scene, and then we're going to add 1 to it in the build index. So let's go in here and let's set that up. So I'm going to hit Control D here, and I'm going to really just make a copy of the exact same level here, except what I want to do on level 2. So let's do build settings. That's what this build index and get active scene. I'm going to grab level 2 here, and inside of level 2, just so we can see it, you don't necessarily have to do this. Oh, actually the 3 kids are gone. So that's enough of a visual indicator to show the difference in the levels, because otherwise you're going to start in the same spot. So we're just going to go to the next scene, Here's our build setting in the build index. So we're currently at 1. If we add 1 to this, we'll be at level 2. See how there's like a 2 here? So that's going to switch it. All right, so we need to create a script, maybe called like collectibles or something, and that's going to update our level manager. And this really is the last script, and our game is done. So I'm going to go to create C# here, and I'm going to make it called collectible, and I'm going to attach this to the 3 little kids. So here's kid 1, 2, and 3, and let's shrink this down a little bit. And drag this on there. I'm going to drag it into here, and I'm going to type out this code and pause the video. All right, so this is, again, pretty basic method. Let's save this. I'm getting a little bit of an error. Not exactly sure why. Let's see. Oh, I have an extra curly brace. Okay. So let's save this out. All right, now let's select our knight, and a couple things. We made these kids, and on their circle colliders, we made sure isTrigger is selected. Now that's what this method is. I wanted to show you the onCollision, and now I'm showing you the onTriggerEnter. This method is created by Unity, and what it's saying is as we enter, so as my knight here, I'm going to walk to the right here, enters this kid here, this kid object. So as I enter and I collect these objects, if my characters has a tag named player. Now you notice that those kids did not disappear, and the reason for that is we never added the player tag here. So if the object that enters that trigger is called player, we're going to call from level manager.instance. Remember what I told you about the singleton thing we created up here? This instance here. Now we can do level manager, the word, .instance. And let me close these out. We don't need all this. .instance.collect item. Let me hold control and click on instance here. And you might have forgot, but what all collect item does is it increments the item count here, and it checks if we need to go to the next level. Now what I'll do here is I'm going to print to the screen, and maybe what you can do is, so every time this is called, and I'll actually put this in awake too, just so we could see it, and then I'll do quotes here, and then I'll put a plus sign. So plus, and then a set of quotes, actually. Items collected. And then let's copy this. And let's paste it here. And then I'm going to hit Control-Shift-C inside of Unity here, and then I'm just going to move this console down here a little bit so we can see this. Okay, so collectible. It's going to call that collection method, and then what we're going to do is destroy this game object, which has this script attached to it, which is the kid. So that way we remove it from the scene and we know we collected. So I'm going to press play here, go down, and boom, got one kid. You can see it started at 0, now we're at 1. Let's grab the second kid and the third kid. And we did not, let's see, we did not load level here. Oh, I know what I did. You know what? Let's just do, where's my button? Load level button. Let's just grab this. And we'll just to Control L, and just paste that scene manager inside of here. And then we need a level name. I'm gonna hit Alt Enter here and just let it make the, oh, I don't want a local variable. I want a parameter. No, I don't want a parameter. Sorry, bear with me here. Alt Enter. I can just make this and then cut it. I'm sure there's something I'm missing where you could just, it just pops it up top. So string level name, and on my level manager here, what I can do is just name this. Oh, we got to make this public or a serialized field. So here we go, public. And we'll name this level 2. And let's save this, and let's maximize this. And let's do play maximize so we can see the awesomeness. Oh, you know what I forgot? We need to make a camera. Boom. And this did not load level 2. What is my logic here? What's going on here? I wonder, here, let me see something. Here's our level manager. And, oh, I have items collected set to 5. That's why. Ah, so silly. All right, let's try this again. 1, 2, and 3. Loaded the next level, and we know it's the next level because those guys are missing. If you need even further validation, we can go UI, or on our canvas here, UI Text Mesh Pro, and let's hit F to focus on that. I'm gonna hit W to move this down, and we'll change this to level 02. I know you don't have any reason not to trust me, but just for fun, let's press play, grab these 3 kids, and now we're on level 2. All right, last thing I want to do is we're going to go to Window, Package Manager, and you're going to go to Unity Registry. We're going to go to Cinemachine here, and you're going to install Cinemachine. All right, we're going to keep this pretty simple. So we have this installed, and go ahead and close this out. And with Game Object here, you can see now we have a Cinemachine thing because we installed it, right? So I'm going to click on Cinemachine here, and I'm going to create a 2D camera. And what I want my character to follow, here's the virtual camera here, is I want my knight here to be the object that it follows here. Now right off the bat, my camera itself is like really huge. So I'm going to take this down a good deal until my stuff comes back into frame. And we could play with it like that. I'm also going to grab my knight character here, hit F to focus, and I'm going to move him way back up here. And notice just by doing that, where we have that virtual camera set to follow, if I press play now, you can see the camera is following along. And now I can go over here, collect my 3 kids, go to level 2. Now remember, level 2 is not set up the same way, but that's really it. I mean, there's a lot to do in the Cinemachine, and we're going to use Cinemachine again when we build out our other game, the other more advanced RPG. But you've essentially created an entire RPG system with restarting the game and all the other good stuff. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that crash course, and yeah, now we're going to dive into much more advanced concepts.